All there is. May I have all the players to the front, please? All the players to the front.
No cameras here.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Monte Carlo Billiards in Mississauga, Ontario. We're live with the Canadian Open, brought to you by Snooker Canada. Good morning to you all. Our first match today will be Don Chomitsky from Manitoba versus Floyd Ziegler from Ontario. And with me, my good friend, my good colleague over here, the other David Buddy.
Good morning. We're here and ready. They've just broken the balls off. Should be a good, exciting day of snooker here. We have the pleasure of being on the TV table and watching some of the best players in the tournament.
Definitely.
And Floyd starts off with his usual accurate shooting, and we'll see where this goes today.
Yeah, as these guys are from your neck of the woods, David, have you played either of these guys?
I've played Floyd a handful of times. He's always had the upper hand. He's definitely one of the serious contenders in this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not familiar with Don. I haven't played Don before, so we'll kind of discover where he's at as we go along here. So,
It's not a good way to start up. Any mental projections you want to give to Don since you've played Floyd? What you can, you played Floyd, but you
Yes.
can give Don.
basically, don't leave him many opportunities. Be very cautious. Floyd will, when he gets in, is very capable of making game-winning contributions right from the beginning. And so you just have to be very careful with Floyd. And Don will be aware. Don knows who Floyd is, and he'll be very wary. It doesn't mean don't go for your shots, though. You still have to play your own game. He's in a tight spot here, bridging directly over the green. Certainly hampered, and chooses just to play safe from that, which is I'd suggest Floyd will certainly be going for this ball.
It's a great, nice camera view too.
Yep.
Just going over his shoulder, seeing the action you need.
He played that with a safety component to it. He wasn't particularly playing any position. And again, puts Don. Probably can see this red on the left, but certainly giving Don some respect here.
Yeah, with being on the live stream on YouTube, we welcome any questions, comments, even let us know where you're tuning in from, because snooker is a global game. And we just seen from Patrick Geegy that Don actually beat Floyd in the Canadian Championship years ago, so these two have some history.
And Floyd is certainly treating Don with some respect here. He's not taking foolish shots or opening up the back unnecessarily. It's one of the nice things as snooker redevelops in Canada is it will have more history and more stories to tell of past matches as all these good players and great players come back to the sport and get active again in it. We're certainly seeing that in the number of entries that we're getting in tournaments now and things like that. You run tournament, David. You run tournaments out in BC, and years ago they were getting like 6 or 8 or 10 players, and now you're up into the 20s and 30s.
You are quite correct.
So it's a really good sign that some of the work that we're doing to rebuild the sport and get it going again is paying off.
True. I think we have some good people behind the scenes, and that's what players are looking for. They want people that definitely respect the players and their craft and what they do.
And to know, and this credit to you out on the West Coast and what we're seeing here in Toronto, is that the tournaments will be well run. That there's a professionalism about the tournaments, that they know that they'll come, the tables will be in good shape, the politics are to a minimum, and that kind of thing. They can just come and play their sport.
Well, it's early and you're making me blush like a schoolgirl.
I know, but you deserve it. So Don has opened the balls up here accidentally a little bit by hitting that safety a little thick. There's a half a chance here for Floyd to come in and score some points.
Yeah, Floyd hails from the Brantford area, home of the great Wayne Gretzky, and Don resides out in Winnipeg. But this year they had a great Central Canadian Championship, the first time going out to Winnipeg for Snooker Canada, so that was great to see.
Okay.
Hot.
When was that?
That was in March, I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's still cold.
Still cold. Was that in Winnipeg?
Winnipeg, yes.
Nice.
But definitely Winnipeg has a rich history. There's a lot of guys out in BC that came from Winnipeg, and they remember playing with Big Bill Wermanick.
Yes. Yeah.
As much as I didn't meet Bill, I've heard good stories. He's a very lovable guy, but if you're doing something wrong, he won't sugarcoat it. He'll tell you.
Do you know if Bill is still playing? I haven't heard his name in a while. Is he
Unfortunately, he passed away.
passed away? Okay. Floyd has fallen out of position here. And he is looking like he's playing one of these, as in England they call them a plant. Here in Canada we're calling them combinations. He does have a ball on the side rail that he could play safe off of, but Floyd certainly is thinks aggressively and is more than capable of making shots like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wish I had the chance to meet Bill in person. Any person that tries to approach the English government to write off their logger for their income tax is good in my books. We're actually talking about that at the Western Canadians because a lot of guys knew Bill, and he did have this problem steadying his arm, and now people realize that it was a magnesium deficiency, and obviously there's medication you can take right now, but back when he was playing, I don't think it was readily available, and a couple loggers would do the job.
There are many stories of Bill playing long matches and having large amounts of lager to get him through. Don's just made a nice shot there, picked a red off that was very close to the pink. Probably would have liked to have pulled it back about an extra 4 or 5 inches so he'd be on the right side of the blue. Choosing to play the riskier pink here. We're playing it very well. And getting rewarded.
For any of the youngsters or new players to the game, I hear you say the right side of the blue.
So when Don played the red that was close to the pink there, if he had pulled it back an extra 6 inches, he would have been what's called below the blue. So he could have played the blue in the left side pocket and brought the cue ball towards the reds. As it was, he was on the short side of the blue. And had he made the blue in the side, his cue ball would carry down towards the back end of the table, away from the reds, which would have left him a more difficult shot on his next red. So it's a positional thing. Sometimes referred to as the pro side. But he has made a tactical error there in missing that ball.
And ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Putty is knowledgeable of a lot of things. It's because he puts on a fantastic coaching program. He ran this past week just leading up to the Canadian Open. It was well attended.
Yeah.
Everyone had a good time, and so we do have an open live chat on the stream. So if you have any questions for David Putty, now's the time.
It was quite an enjoyable experience. It's the first time that we've run a coaching clinic in Canada, and we had people from Calgary and Montreal and Cobourg and Toronto, Hamilton, that came and spent 2 days with us, and we did our best to guide them through the beginning of a coaching series that they should be able to teach juniors and teach seasoned players, help them with the small fine-tuning of the game. And actually, in this case, we were talking about being on the right side of the blue. Floyd has got himself either, it's hard to see, he's either on the right angle or straight in. We'll know in a minute as how he plays this. I guess he was just on the wrong side. You see the cue ball carried down the table as opposed towards the reds. But he has this red over the left pocket, so he'll be continuing on. But the coaching program was great because it gives a format, gives a form for people who want to give back to the game and do some coaching, that they now can have a nice plan. They can create a plan for a student. So Snooker Canada, you can send us a request for a coach, and if we have a coach in the area where you happen to live, you can go to info@snookercanada.com and ask for a coach in your area, and if we have one, we'll certainly make that available.
Great news. It's great news to get more coaches out there. I know we've got a referee certification programs in the works as well. Good to get referees, table mechanics, and we're also always looking for scorekeepers. They're all important jobs in this big ship that we're building here.
Neither of these players yet have really found a rhythm with the table. They're kind of figuring it out. Every table has a different speed that it plays at, the speed of the cloth. So in that case, Floyd made a great blue shot in the green ball corner, but failed to get good position on a ball. So Don has a chance here to catch up a little bit.
Yeah, this is actually Floyd's first match of the tournament. Don played yesterday at noon, but I don't think he was on the TV table.
No, I don't think so. So again, he's just short on that blue. He would have liked to have been past the side pocket. But with the brown ball off the spot, there's a great big window here that he should be able to play the cue ball through to come back up. You can see Floyd stretching his right arm there. He's had a right shoulder injury that he's been getting some physiotherapy and medical treatment on, so he finds it restricts him a bit. But he plays through it well. He recently won an Ontario championship and is in pretty good form. So again, playing a defensive safety here. Keep Don off the table, or from being able to pot.
Yeah, coincidentally enough, our good friend Charlie Brown out in Whistler, he has a little bit of shoulder issues as well. And actually, last year's Whistler Cup, Floyd and Charlie battled in the first round. It's quite an exciting match. Went to a decider, first round.
Tough match for a first round to have
Yeah.
two high quality players like that.
Well, Charlie's usually used to it, talking to him back out in BC area. Always when he comes eastbound, he's playing the toughest guy in the draw and the earliest match of the tournament. And sure enough, when we had our Western Canadians last weekend, he played at noon.
And sometimes it is the luck of the draw, because we don't really seed tournaments here, and so, or we haven't yet as a history. And so it could be a Floyd and a Charlie Brown match, or it could be, you might get a really easy match to start out based on players' ability. But it's always a bit of luck of the draw.
Mm-hmm. I think when players draw David Burney, they're getting quite excited.
They've been known to be seen dancing around the table. Actually, you don't actually play in many of them at this point, do you?
No, I don't.
No, you're more in the organizing them and running them and doing that.
Yeah, I found out doing the qualifiers out in BC, as much as I'm as well kind of building a West Coast team, your attention, you just can't be right on the table. There's always something drawing you a little away. If a match finished, are they going to write the right score line? So as it's come back out in BC and I'm forming good bonds with other players, people are starting to step up and be like, okay, I will help you. When you're on the table, I'll take care of the room, and when I'm on the table, you take care of the room.
So you get a bit of a chance to get back to play.
Because when you're on the table, you want to be on the table. You don't want to think of, is that guy put in the right score line? You want to wish him the best. Thanks for coming out and all that stuff. But
That shot that Floyd just played is an example of the quickness of the table. He drew the cue ball about 3/4 the length of the table, off making a brown ball in the corner, and he overdrew it. He would have been playing position on the two reds right behind the pink, but overdrew it and ended up with a very difficult shot along the rail. And Don's down 33 points at this point. There's 59 points on the table at this point, so there's lots of time for him to get in and make some balls. Find his rhythm, find his stroke. He obviously made a decision there that it wasn't worth taking one of those two reds behind the pink, as if he missed, he would leave it wide open for Floyd. So wait for his next opportunity.
and if you look a little deep in our background of our pictures, there's Alex Zhang there, 2016 Richler Cup champion, and this year's Mr. Billiard Open champion. I'm pretty sure he wants to add some more silverware to his trophy case.
He would certainly be perceived as one of the contenders here. He's a very, very strong player out of Montreal.
Correct.
Floyd has again put Don in trouble here, kind of forcing him into taking this shot into the right corner. There is a safety to be played here, but we'll see what Don chooses to do.
Yeah, I don't know if you could see in that picture, but Don definitely really favors the cue on his dominant eye. He doesn't ride it right through the cleft of his chin. It's off to the right a little bit. Or our right, his left.
Right. Half a chance here for Floyd to step in.
You'll notice with these better players, let's say there are some better players in this tournament than others. It just happens. But when they miss, they don't really leave anything easy on for their opponent.
That's a bit of a luck issue. Like when Floyd plays that shot, he has left a shot here into the left corner.
But going over those balls, there's a little concern for old Don.
Yes. He's going to have to pull out the rest here so that his belly doesn't touch that ball on the rail, which of course would be a foul.
Yeah.
A bit of a lucky leave, fortunate leave in terms of it. Makes this shot a little more difficult. And in fact, Don just chose to play safe.
Yeah, just a small piece of nylon touching the ball, and that's a foul. We got the great Jim Jack today, being the policeman of the room. He'll be our roving referee. We do thank Kevin Patrick yesterday for coming in.
And I believe we have Larry LaSalle doing the refereeing tomorrow.
Yes, you're correct.
Yes.
I don't know if I've worked with Larry before.
I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember back to the tournaments that we've let you into Ontario for.
It's true. I still have my Ontario driver's license.
Are there any police listening? He's just showed me a picture of his license, and I'm not sure what to say about the hair. Don's trying a bit of a finesse shot here and has not pulled it off. Left a shot for Floyd into the side pocket.
Well, it was the 90s. The grunge scene was going on. The plaid shirts and the Doc Martens.
So Floyd's in a position here where he can probably cross the finish line for this first frame.
Yeah, that run red up in bulk. Won't be too concerned with it.
No.
These reds are nicely open.
At this point, Floyd needs just a red and pretty much any color when he's up in the big color area here. So this would be his frame ball. So there's 43 points left on the table, which only gives Don a maximum of 51. And this would be when Floyd finishes his run here. I would expect that Don would concede.
Yes, they instituted a little mercy rule. I was talking to Kevin Patrick yesterday. It's one thing that they forgot to mention in the players' meeting, because some players, they might want to stay on the table, maybe get a little bit of their money's worth, but when you're on the brown, on the colors, and you're down by 60, it's definitely an uphill battle.
The one thing the players do like to do in this situation is see if they can complete running out on the table. And as a professional standard or consideration, the opposing player doesn't all of a sudden walk up the table and say, "Oh, we're done."
Yeah,
But you let the player finish his run. Floyd's missed the yellow, and now there's too big a point differential for Don to continue.
yeah, with that great break of 28, it's Floyd to take the first frame in this best of 7. It's a race to 4. Yeah, always good to get that first frame on the board. You get your feet wet, so hopefully Don can respond in this frame too. as you see, when we go back to the seating, we are still small right now, so seating isn't happening right away, but hopefully it could happen in the future. Because I do find it tough sometimes out in BC. I don't know if you could comment on it at all, David, is some of the novice guys that just are new kind of want to come play, and then boom, they come in, they're saying they're playing an elite player, and they're just like, well,
Kind of like they've made their donation.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've donated to the prize fund, but there's different ways to do that, and that would be a seeding scenario where you might start the novice players off on a Thursday, Friday, and the novice players that get through that round or those rounds would then come in to play on the Saturday against the more elite players. But that's the fine tuning. That's the whole point of this is to get as many people comfortable playing at different levels as we can, so that it's not always about the elite players.
And I think it's kind of part of the game. I've made my fair share of donations.
You know, I came into this tournament and played Fern Loyer right away, who's multiple times Canadian champion. My attitude to that is I want to play the best players I can. And if I lose the first round, it's not that it's okay, because I'd much rather still be playing, but I don't feel that I've lost anything necessarily by having had a chance to be on the table with Fern. And I know what I need to do next time to win, and I need more practice, and I need more matches, and all that. So it's what you do to build your own ability.
It's like our good friend Kevin Robitaille, who actually out in BC, he a while ago played on the pro circuit over in England, and he was telling me a story that Willie Thorne would always take the first frame. He was just known to grab that first frame. So Kevin was like, that's not going to happen. I'm playing them. I'm going to take that first frame. So he's getting ready to break off in front of a crowd of 10,000. Missed all 15 reds on the break.
And Willie won the first frame.
And Willie went to the first frames. But he enjoyed that as well. Your philosophy, he's like, I want to go against the best. I want to, play these really good guys. He'd hear Cliff Thorburn playing somewhere because he grew up in Ottawa. Here Cliff is playing somewhere. He's in his car and he's driving wherever it is. It could be in Thunder Bay of all places. He'd be in his car.
Floyd's in a tight spot here. There's a cross-bank safety here, which is what he's played. The first point's still to be registered in this frame, but
Hold on just a sec, folks. We just have a few technical difficulties that we're just going to take away. We'll hopefully get the picture up to you soon enough. What does have good picture is the DAZN service. My apologies. It's a new streaming service out there that has made a deal with World Snooker, so you can tune in and watch all the pros, and what a great time to tune in because the World Championships are on right now as we speak. And some other notes on what's happening with Snooker Canada. We're going to have a full-blown national tour next year with ranking points and prizes like free accommodations, because we have such a large country. It sometimes can be tough on the players to travel out of their hometowns, so free accommodations definitely help. Oh, there we are. Now we're back online. Glad you had patience. And yeah, we also have snooker accessories coming from England as prizes, And it's possible you could arrive in a tournament in a Cadillac. There's options to drive one of those. You won't own it, but hey, it could be quite nice to show your opponent that you arrive in style. So, came back on the air quite nicely. Just in time to see Floyd start up this break. It was a little unfortunate that the black spot was taken by that red, as now the black has to go on the yellow spot.
And I think on how this looks and Floyd's body reaction or body language, he has come up short on that blue ball, as we talked about as well. He's looking to position the cue ball just over towards the green side of the table so that he has, oh, he's tried. He tried hitting that with a very large amount of right-hand top side, right siding with some top, which causes when it hit the right-hand rail to come back up towards the table. And it almost worked, except he caught the horn on the left side and it took it back down table anyway. Now there is a path, if he plays this red, to come between the two reds closest to the top rail, if he chooses. Nope, he's going the safety route. He certainly is playing Don with some respect here. He's aware of what Don can do here.
Well, he is Don Juan, so look out.
That's a good safety. Ideally, you want that cue ball closer to the bottom rail so that the player can't get his hand on the table and have less control. When a player really knows the speed of the table, he can actually get that cue ball almost frozen to the bottom rail every time when they're playing safeties.
Alan Whitfield yesterday was just doing that with alarming precision. He was definitely firing pockets into the balls into the back of the pocket, but then when it was time for safety, he just glued it to that ball cushion.
Needs to hit something here. He did. Okay.
Looks like we got a little black ball game there on Alex Zhang's table. Not sure exactly who he's playing. And if you need to find any updates on your favorite players or just want to see how the draw is working out, you can go online, check out CompuSport, or you can download CompuSport's app on your smartphone and look for the Canadian Open with the Snooker Canada logo, which is in the top right corner of the screen that you're seeing right now. And you can find all the scores and updates there. Or come on down here to Monte Carlo Billiards.
Yeah.
Nothing like seeing snooker
Seeing it
live in
live.
person. We are just charging $5 admission, but what was it, $2 now?
Actually, we're doing $2 or a donation.
Oh,
now at
okay.
the door.
Because all the donations go to the Air Cadets, as I understood.
Yeah. Actually, one of the people who were quite involved with the Air Cadets was in the coaching program on Wednesday and Thursday. And he is saying there are about 1,000 or more cadets that are potential players for snooker. And his intention is to get a coaching program going for the cadets.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah. So I'll probably, it's John Bittman is the fellow who's doing that. And so my thought is I'll go down and help him for a day or two on a Saturday morning when he has all the kids there, and see if we can find the next Cliff Thorburn. Or just people who just love to play, which is really the most important thing in this, is finding the people who just get fired up for the game.
Mm-hmm. But you do make a good point that it has been far too long that the Maple Leaf has not been hung over in England on the Pro Tour.
I'm one of these guys that started when I was a teenager and wasted my youth in a pool hall. And I've been playing now for this is my 50th year of playing snooker.
50?
50 years.
You didn't look a day over 47.
You liar, you.
Were you playing in your mom's belly? Jeez.
Yeah, I'm 50 years playing this. It's a lifetime sport for me. And that's one of the things when we're talking to juniors and stuff, is it doesn't matter how far they progress in the game. But if they love the game and they play and they build up the social contacts through it, it becomes a social network of people who love the sport. There are people that I still run into in pool halls that I started with 50 years ago, who are all still playing the game. Yeah. So it's a wonderful sport for that.
It's like golf as well. You can play that pretty much your entire life. Obviously, your vision might go a little bit, but there's glasses out there that you can wear.
Yeah. Floyd's in a bit of a tight spot here. It'd be hard for him not to leave a ball on if he hits one. So Don would have the choice here of putting Floyd back into that spot and having him shoot again from there. But in this case, most players will not do that because he's in such a strong position to get in and make some balls. If he can get this cue ball back down table and take the black,
at least a bit closer to its spot, because the black would go on the blue spot. Because I think that one red is...
I think the black is available. Ooh, he got a great kiss for that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the black spot is available just inside. He's taking a close look at that. But you're right, at least it would go on the blue.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's more in play.
Slowly coming back home.
And Don certainly has a pre-shot routine here of lining up the ball. It's one of the critical things in being a successful player.
Yeah, I'm slowly trying to develop my mantra when I'm at the table, just doing the same thing every time. Just like I come, little step forward with my right foot, big with the left, turn, look, pull the trigger, and fire.
Yep. It's very similar to thinking of a golf stroke. You know, you do the same thing every time, then you'll have success.
Mm-hmm.
If you change it up every time, it's very difficult to be consistent. So Don came over and took a look at where he wants the cue ball to finish up after he makes this red so that he has a continuation black.
Mm-hmm. Because that black actually did go in its spot.
Yes. So as he makes this black, red just above the black will move away from the spot and open it up really nicely. Just like that. Now he's in perfect position to continue on. So he has a real chance here to put some points on the board and do his best to secure the second frame.
It's interesting as well with these guys is their backstroke isn't that long. You know, you look at John Higgins on the pro circuit, he brings it all the way back to his palm almost.
I'm not sure what he's left himself here. Yes. So he obviously didn't get that one red on the right. He didn't move the one red enough to get it, so he's playing the more difficult shot in front of that one into the right-hand corner.
Seems to be like okay.
I think Floyd's glad that he didn't make that red, because he certainly would have been tight behind the yellow again.
Well, the game is called snooker. It's not called pot balls.
It's a great kiss. Floyd just got a great, fortunate kiss down there on the yellow. He would have been back safely in the D already anyway, but just made it that much more difficult.
Don't think that's what he wanted to do.
That is not what he wanted to do. If the balls are so nicely spread out right now that if Floyd does get in, this is certainly an opportunity for Floyd to inflict some damage.
Yeah, it's an interesting game. Sometimes you have the momentum and just one pot is missed and then the pendulum switches.
Looks like Floyd will get a good bounce here. Yes. He's in a good position to make some balls here. You can sort of tell by his body language there, he was hoping to kiss into that red-pink combination there to open that up. Would have left himself with much easier shots.
I wonder what these guys' practice routine was leading up to this tournament. Because I've heard that Ronnie O'Sullivan pots 2,000 balls a day to lead up to tournaments. Was that on your routine usually, David?
I'm in the process of getting a table in my home. And my thinking is that I'll spend about an hour to 2 hours a day practicing. So an hour to 2 hours a day probably would get to 1,000 balls. in drills and doing that. And then, of course, you'd carry that over and play in games with friends and matches and competitions and tournaments and stuff. So, I don't know about 2,000 balls a day, but regular daily practice, as with any sport, if your practice routines are good and your technique is good, can only ever improve your game.
Mm-hmm. I thought you had said I was going to play 3,000 balls.
I'd probably have to hit about 10,000 balls a day to even get close to making a few balls on the table with Ronnie. I don't know if those of you that might be watching here have ever watched him play, but it is truly amazing to watch snooker played at that level.
Yeah, he definitely makes it look easy, but this game is not easy at all. Encourage any of you, it's a great facility we have here in Mississauga at Monte Carlo Billiards. Come on down and just put your hand on one of these giant 6x12 tables and try to pot a ball at distance. It's pretty tough.
Great shot from Floyd.
And Floyd on cue just makes it look easy, those
That's
long
right.
pots.
Yes. Yeah, Floyd hasn't found his rhythm yet. You can sense from the body language it wasn't quite what he had in mind, but again, the reds are spread out, so.
I don't know. I'd kill for his rhythm right now. He seems to be doing all right, but obviously in his books it's not that good.
Yeah, he's leaving himself shots that are more difficult than he would be wanting to. Now he's back in prime position again.
And remember, ladies and gentlemen, and all you that are watching out there on the internet, to subscribe to the Snooker Canada page, because it's very helpful as our matches sometimes write longer or a bit shorter. If you subscribe, you'll get notification of when we go back live, and also if you like us, it helps us boost the popularity, and we can get more and more tournaments and more streams and just more good snooker action to you.
Again, he tried to get that pink-red combination opened up and just brushed it. Didn't quite brush it on the right-hand side. And again, is left with a slightly more difficult shot than he would have liked.
Yeah, you kind of had to go around the world there.
So Don comes back to the table with 59 points left on the table. There's still a very good opportunity for him here to grab this frame. Just going to lock that cue ball up on the bottom rail again. A good friend of ours, Danny Glumachich, is a very top player, wins a number of tournaments. I don't believe he's here this weekend, but his theory is if someone can beat him by playing off the bottom rail every shot, he deserves to win. And Danny is a master of getting people down onto the bottom rail and letting them flail away at shots like that one.
Yeah, there are some faces that are missing from this tournament. Yeah, I don't see young Nicholas or Leon.
Nicholas Ridley.
Mm-hmm.
Nicholas is playing a lot of pool, 8-ball, 9-ball tournaments. Now, he hasn't been playing that much snooker. That was a great shot from Floyd. Nice shot. But I was talking to a good friend of his, Levi Mueller, and Levi was saying that Nicholas is concentrating on pool right now.
Okay.
Nicholas got to go over to China at one point, I think about a year and a half ago, and played for Canada in some pool tournaments in China. And he's a young, very, very capable player. That will, if we can drag him back to snooker, that would be, I think, good for the sport.
Definitely.
If you're listening, Nicholas, or anybody who knows him, tell him I said so.
There might be a knock on your door.
That's right. With a set of snooker balls
And Jan Verhaas, the giant referee from the Netherlands.
saying the time has come.
Yeah, Charlie, actually, I was talking with him. Charlie Brown was playing in the Chinese 8-ball tournament a couple months ago. And he is just like, it is amazing over there. They just love their billiards and how they treat their players. He felt like Keith Richards. He felt like a rock star that just treated you so well.
I thought you said because he was as old as Keith.
I'd never say that about Charlie. Charlie's not a day over 30. I think it's early on the West Coast. I don't know if anyone's listening out there.
I think Don may have been a little bit fortunate there. He hit that safety considerably too hard, but didn't leave that red on the right in play. So he's going to get another opportunity to play another safety here.
You'd almost think if you are playing Floyd, leaving him shots where he's really got to stretch out that arm, because that might hurt the shoulder a little bit more, and who knows, after these long matches that shoulder might act up on him.
I think his opponents would like to think that. I'm not sure that that's a great shot. That's pretty much what he was trying to do the shot before, but he hit it too thin the time before. This time he just hit it perfectly. So that cue ball came back down the table, and
Yeah, that could equally frustrate Floyd as much as a long stretching shot. A tough snooker is always a challenge to get out of. Makes you think a little bit, which when you don't want to be.
very nicely done. Played that carom off that loose red really nicely to stay in position on the black. You can see that pre-shot routine that Don has. He consistently does the same lineup and walking into the shot. That's danger, and it stopped. That attempt was probably to bring the cue ball closer in line past the pink, so that he was closer to that red, close to the pink, but hit it with a little bit too much top. Great recovery. And played pretty much perfectly for the pink.
One advantage that Floyd might have is with Don coming from Winnipeg, the Jets won their first playoff series last night since 1987, so
So you think he was out celebrating?
wouldn't you if you were a native Winnipegger?
I think a lot of Toronto fans could relate. Oops, sorry. I happen to be one of those Toronto fans, but
True, in honor of that, you would think maybe Don would wear a white suit. The whiteout is quite a theme up there in Winnipeg for their hockey team. And I don't have Kirk's number, Great Kirk Stevens, famously wearing that beautiful white suit when he made
That's
a
right.
maximum at the
Yes.
Masters.
That needs to slow down. It has.
Yeah, it's building up to be a pivotal frame, although we're early on. But with it close here and getting down to the colors,
Yeah, Don, I think, needs to take these opportunities to close out a frame or two here. Get Floyd thinking a bit, maybe, about what might happen. And snooker becomes a very psychological game very quickly when you have a certain level of skill. It is the more highly trained mind that will make the difference in matches. The ability to deal with pressure, perform under pressure. That will work out very well for Don. Nice shot. This could be a solid snooker. That brown and blue in the middle of the table forms a nice wall to try and play snookers behind. So they're calling the referee over here. There's Jim Jacks. And what the referee here is doing, what Jim is doing, is he's making sure he knows exactly where that cue ball is. In case Don doesn't make contact with the red ball, then Floyd has a choice of putting Don back into exactly the same position.
Jim was talking to me earlier today before this match, or this group of matches, and he was talking a match that he reffed for Alex Zhang, and Alex had a shot on, or was snookered, and Jim actually only just called a foul and a miss, because he was like, there is no way you can miss that, because he missed it and put it tight to the ball cushion. So then Alex went back and hit a second attempt, and sure enough, he hit the ball and escaped. So Alex was a little upset with that. Jim told him what the ruling was. Jim actually sent it over to England to get their ruling. And they're like, you almost did everything correct. You just didn't almost penalize him for unsportsmanlike conduct.
And any decisions made on the table by the referee are final. The referee has complete discretion to interpret the rules. Great hit. And he's left it safe. So the players can discuss with the referee, but if the referee holds his decision, then there is no further discussion. This one might be going in. Not quite. But again, Floyd has played it perfectly with the cue ball. Floyd wouldn't have been playing the hook here, the snooker, but it's a sideline of, or byproduct of trying a cross bank on the red. And they're calling Jim in again, I believe. Yep.
Yeah, Jim, a very honorable man. He never takes any of my bribes when he's refereeing my matches.
I know, I have the same problem.
I'm feeling like as much as I wasn't born in Scotland, but I do have Scottish roots with my red beard. We thought I had some kinship there, but no.
Hey, I own property in Scotland, and that didn't work. Actually, Jim was one of the participants in the coaching course that we did this week. And Jim has played 30, 40 years in the sport. And thought it was time he gave something back as well.
Good hit.
Nice hit.
As well, Jim has a great little segment on the art of snooker that's on YouTube, a 8-part series that Snooker Canada produced, all on all facets of the game. So if you own a table or you want to just improve the conditions of the table in the room you play, he does a great demonstration of how to take care, how to brush the table, how to iron the table, just the general maintenance of the table that you need. So.
And certainly, if you have questions on rulings and becoming a referee, if that was what you wanted to do, or just understanding it, the site is rulesofsnooker.com, and you can go there. It's a great resource for anything that you need to know about the game. So Floyd is checking the score here, making sure that our score is accurate. The players here are also keeping their own score, I believe, on the scoreboard to the left, just behind the electronic scoreboard, just so we have agreement in case the electronic one is inaccurate.
Which can happen. Unfortunately, we had some technical issues yesterday. We had a little hiccup, obviously, a few moments ago with the screen. So it's, these things do happen. You don't want them to happen, but...
So Floyd's in a bit of a tight spot here, in that he needs the green and brown to secure the frame or get it to a point where Don needs snookers and fouls. So in this case, he may try and make this green and bring the cue ball all the way around, or he may get it very soft. But either way, it's soft. And that even may have been a plate safety. Because there was very little value in Floyd making that green, because he wouldn't be in a good position on the brown. It's a very nice shot. Even if he didn't get the snooker here, it's a great shot because it's tied Floyd up. Looks like it is a snooker. And the expectation or the hope that when you put someone in a snooker like that is that even if they hit the ball, you have a good chance of getting a shot. This is certainly Don's best opportunity to come in, and if he makes 5 balls, he wins the frame. Yeah. It looks like he hit that, the way the cue ball came off the side rail, he hit that with a lot of right-hand siding. Instead of just hitting center ball and securing the ball. And anytime you put siding on a ball, this is something for all aspiring players out there, is don't hit balls with siding, especially as you're learning the game. It is something that throws the cue ball offline, and it's much more difficult to hit the spot on the ball where you're aiming. By the black. Ooh. If that had got by the black, that would have been a great hook.
Treacherous.
As it is, that little kiss may let Floyd in finish the game. Oh.
It's tough to tell if he got snooker there, but it is.
It's not a snooker. I don't know that he has the potting angle, or that it would be a great shot to go for because he's so tight to the rail on the cue ball. Stopped it for the safety. Nicely played.
Yeah, using that wall.
He might have a little bit on the right-hand side of that green. Sometimes we refer to it as seeing paint.
So much wall play. Should we be calling him Pink Floyd Sequid?
And if it gets by, that's... Oops. Don't know if you heard that in the background. It sounded like glass hitting the floor.
And it's early.
It's early. It's early. Must have been a coffee cup. And Floyd has opened the door.
Yeah, it's a little early for iced tea, I think.
Yeah, yeah. This shot is all going to be about pace. Ooh. Don took that to the next step in terms of an attempt. He was trying to bring that cue ball off the bottom rail to kiss on the blue and leave himself a pretty much straight in shot on the ball in the corner. Just missed the kiss. If he's comfortable playing with the rest, he's in a good position.
He's had a few opportunities in this frame really to come through, and you don't want to do that to a player like Floyd.
Floyd.
I can really tell when Floyd's kind of a little upset. Definitely puts his hand on his hip and
Just working on some of the noise in the background there.
true. Some of the players come off the table and they don't realize we're live recording back here. So trying to have a family show here, and they might have some choice words about their playing ability. And that'll seal the deal for the second frame. So a big one for Floyd, taking up 2-0. So Don's got some work to do.
Don certainly had he'll view that as a missed opportunity.
And I think the two gentlemen are just going to take a comfort break, and we'll be back in a short moment
We'll
for
be
frame
back.
3. welcome back, everybody. We're in frame 3 on this best of 7 match between Don Chemiski from Winnipeg, Manitoba against Floyd Ziegler from Brantford, Ontario. Floyd took the first two frames. The last frame was just kind of a seesaw match, and definitely Don had his chances, and I think he's had a time to moment to recompose himself. But Floyd has come out here guns a-blazing. He's got to continue to step on the gas. I'm a little upset with that shot. Didn't really get into it. He could be straight onto this blue. That's an excellent safe shot there by Don. I think he's got the snooker. But early on, these aren't too tough to obviously hit a red, as there's a large number of them. The key is to hit a red and leave a red on, and I think that's going back. There's a good shot by Floyd. There's obviously that red that would go in, but shape is to be desired, and as well he's going into all those reds and really would open them up. So, ooh, that's a very nice shot there by Don, my apologies. Wrong vowel. Yeah, just looking to come off the brown and lay it behind the yellow. We are live at Monte Carlo Billiards in Mississauga, Ontario, and we're on the YouTube on Snooker Canada's page, so feel free to tune us in or come down and watch live. It's a good idea with the YouTube channel to subscribe to it, because as matches can run long or be quick, you'll get notification that when a new match starts on the live stream. So a handy tool there, and if you like what we're doing out here, that would be appreciated, as we can bring you more and more events with the more and more likes we get. So one hand shakes another. Very nicely done by Don. Just have to wait a few moments for it to drop. It is definitely perfectly legal to hit a red that hits a color, that hits a red and goes in. Obviously, if he hit a red and then it hit a color ball and that color ball went in, that would be a foul. Right around that black, it would have been a costly one. As well, if you are tuning in on the YouTube, if you've got any comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. We'd also love to hear where you're tuning in from, as snooker is a global game. We like to reach out all corners of the globe. Just on Alex Zhang's table, I know an update over there. They're tied at 1-1. But for all the scores, you can check out CompuSport. Either do a Google search for it, find it on its webpage, or download it on your smartphone. And a man that is definitely smarter than a phone, David Putty, is back in the booth.
I was just going to say, what if your phone is smarter than you are? What do you do?
Well,
Being as you don't have an answer, you might be the poster boy for that. I'm back.
if they're so smart, why didn't they help us out yesterday?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, kudos to our technical director, Rob Decatur. Did a dynamite job to deal with it. Really don't hope for any of these things to happen, but kept his cool, kept a great demeanor.
Got it done. Well, here's a bit of a risky shot, depending on how he can control this cue ball. But he may be okay. That red behind the black is now covered on the corner pocket. But I don't think he sees that one. Yeah, it's all Floyd had from there.
And nice on that ball cushion.
He may have been, I think the ultimate goal there might have been to tuck it in behind the brown. But if you put it within 9 inches of there and it's frozen to the rail, it's a well-played shot.
Sure, I know it's tough for the folks to see at home, but there's about so much cable here that Rob has brought. You could go around the world twice. So we really appreciate all his efforts that he's doing to give you lovely people all these great pictures and updating score and make us sound clear and smart. It's a big undertaking, that's for sure. No better than those phones.
Not true.
The only phone I like is a rotary phone.
And they're hard to find nowadays.
Sure, if you're ever out in Vancouver area, David, I'll take you out to unfortunately this gentleman, Grant, passed away, but was a huge supplier of telephones
Okay.
to the film and television industry, especially out in Vancouver, but everywhere. Like, you can think of a phone, he sent it there. Obviously, Boardwalk Empire, that's a great show on HBO dealing with the Prohibition. Obviously, they're not going to have cell phones or digital phones, but that style of telephone he had. He was quite a collector of phones.
Okay.
So we do miss you, Grant, but his lovely wife is continuing the business on. So.
Cool. So if you ever need a phone, call Grant's wife.
Yeah. Their phone never stops ringing. They're always busy.
That'd be a good byline for their business. Never get a busy signal here.
All right.
Obviously, I've had my first cup of coffee this morning.
There's coffee? Oh,
Just coffee.
just coffee. Okay. Maybe that's what broke then in the earlier frame.
Floyd will be shooting the pink here, and he's just checking these two reds to see if he can get that top red to clear into the left corner pocket.
Seems like maybe someone's coming in the room.
A phone or a distracting sound or something. The kitchen is making noises in behind us. I don't know if that's the distraction or what it might be. Floyd might have that red to the right of the pack. He's looking at it, tight between the black and the other red, but he's looking at it. Okay.
And also our tournament director, Gordon McWhinney, is doing a dynamite job to, make sure all the players are aware of when they're starting and all the details and rules and regulations. It's quite an undertaking to do these things.
Well, you know that as well, just from doing the Western BC tournaments and all that,
Yeah.
in a similar role.
A lot of sleepless nights. And you get random phone calls at the middle of the night. Feel like I bought caller ID for a reason, but things pop up, no caller ID, so I'm like, what's going on?
That's a nice shot on Don's part. That's a pretty high risk shot. If he had missed that, he knew he'd be leaving something for Floyd. There's that pre-shot routine that Don uses again. Trying to get that cue ball into the back, and he's come around it instead.
Yeah, it's a nice little pause at the stand and then jump down into business.
Yep.
Kind of like Danny, who you were mentioning earlier. He's kind of hovering over the shot, and when it's time to go, he just locks down, gets his chin nice onto the cue, and
Makes a lot of balls.
Yeah. Was he your partner when we were in
Cambridge.
Cambridge?
Yes. We got to the finals of the Ontario Doubles Championship.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which is featured prominently on The Art of Snooker. I think they actually even go into John Tishart,
Yes.
who provided the table for that tournament, into his shop.
Yes. Actually, I'm spending a bit of time in Vienna, where John's shop is. I'm a realtor, and I have a property listed in Vienna. And so when John is back, John is currently in Australia right now. He's, I think, in Hawaii now. He's on his way back home. But he was installing a custom-made table into a home in Australia.
Wow.
And they flew him down for the installation of it, and so he and his wife, I believe, went down, did the table installation, and have taken a holiday after on the tail end of it. Actually, there were pictures on Facebook of John, and they were in a resort in Hawaii, and there's apparently a lot of flooding on the north part of Hawaii lately. And they were showing one of the roads. There were only 2 roads into this resort. And they showed one of the roads, both of which were washed out, with about a 5-foot gully blocking the whole road. They couldn't get in or out.
Wow.
So, but John is back. But he does have an amazing shop in this little village of Vienna. And it's kind of like a candy store for snooker players. So I'm going to be spending some time in there. And yeah, it's,
For all of you playing at home on David Putty's frequent flyer miles, that's Vienna, Ontario, not
Yes.
Vienna, Austria. I know David does like his Mozart, but
absolutely.
maybe we could go over to Vienna someday. I'm pretty sure Mozart was a billiard player.
I'm sure there's a snooker table in Vienna somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Don is lining up an interesting shot here. He can only see the edge of that red because Floyd just missed the snooker. And there may be a 3-ball plant in this pack somewhere. Very nicely done.
Sometimes it's easier said than done, but Don is proving up to your commentary.
That's right. That's one for the commentators.
No curse there.
No curse. That's right.
How do you like that, Mr. Taylor?
Ooh.
Actually had a friend of the Burney family stop by the room yesterday. Old friend Jamie Thompson, who is an accomplished flutist. And we were flutist, potato, dazon, all these different pronunciations. But we were talking, and he's kind of getting back in the game, and we're like, it'd be interesting if you had a cue and a flute at the same time, possibly, so you could play and then maybe play your flute and woo your player off his shot.
Like a snake charmer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, I think in the Orient they used to have those flutes made of bamboo, and they would play, but then they were also powerful enough to hit their enemies or something like that.
A nice shot by Floyd there. I think he's on the right side of the green ball there. Cue ball. Should be able to get the cue ball up towards this red by the corner. Actually, it's a good shot on his part there. He's given himself some options. He can play that one, or he can play the one on the back of the left side of the pack.
That is always good philosophy. After a color, leaving yourself on a choice of reds.
Yes. Not an expected miss, but he's come up pretty safe on it, I think.
Yeah, because you'll notice sometimes when the safety battles engage that there might be a red on the cushion, and one player really doesn't want to dislodge that, so they play safe away that, forcing the other player to take on that red.
Mm-hmm.
You never want to be forced to do anything.
Floyd's likely to want to move this red by the pocket here, so it doesn't make an easy shot for his opponent.
Noticed in the top right corner of the screen, that far table there has been idle for quite a while, and I know Louis Vizicus was to play on that table, but he was talking earlier that his opponent hadn't been shown up, so that could be maybe a forfeited match over there, and Louis is going to be moving on. He's one of our great friends from Big Nickel Country. Got a good contingent of Sudbury players here.
Sudbury?
Sudbury.
Sudbury. Sudbury.
Sudbury.
Okay, maybe I heard the. Maybe
What did I say?
last-
Subway?
I thought you said Barry. Barry Larone is from Sudbury.
He is. All the way Lorone. That is a good shot of him just leaping at the table there.
Oh. A little unfortunate on that. His great shot. A little unfortunate that he didn't kiss the blue on the way through, because that would have left him in perfect black position. And now he's got a tough shot or forced into a safety.
Now, would you say great shot or great pot there?
Shot.
Okay. Some people would argue that that is a great pot. A great shot would be making that pot and being on
And
a color.
getting the kiss. So he's played a very good safety there.
Yeah, with these guys being veterans of the game, they don't really dilly-dally around the table that much.
No.
They know what they have to do, and they approach and execute. I might have cursed it right there, and Don might be at the table for the next 2 minutes over the
Sure.
shot.
Very nice shot. This could be one of the key shots in the frame here. Natural shape on the red if he's to make this black. Yeah, Don's been a little unfortunate in this match so far in that he's missed some of the key shots. That was a key shot there. Floyd has, but I think that red passes the blue into the right corner for an easy. It must be close, but for a relatively easy black after, and all of a sudden he's behind significant points again. Floyd seems surprised by what happened with the cue ball there.
Seems like he just doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I wonder if the front door's open, maybe a draft's coming in or something. That was a good opportunity for him to take that frame.
Yeah, to only get 1 point from that visit to the table would be a disappointment to him.
Yeah, I probably would have got 2 from that point.
quite go far enough to get the snooker here. And I don't think Don's going to like his next shot. Nope. So the rule of this tournament is that there are, if Don doesn't hit the yellow ball here, which is the ball on, then the referee will put it back to a maximum number of 3 times. So Don gets 4 opportunities to hit this with a foul applied. If he misses, to Floyd score. Jim Jacks has positioned in his mind where that cue ball is, and Don will take his first attempt.
Over on the pro circuit, obviously they have the technology that the referees are able to use a video screen, but we're slowly getting there. But this also comes down to the sportsmanship of the game as well. If the ball does get placed back, the referee will check with both players, and if both are in agreement, then it will be a good spot.
There's a... Technically, Don shouldn't be touching the cue ball. That's Jim's job.
But also Jim's job. Where's his white gloves as a referee?
That's right. I
As
have
a
some with
referee-
me. I could loan them to him.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Maybe when we break from this 9:30 game to get into our noon games, I'd have a little talk with JJ
That's
over
right.
there.
JJ. Now, what Don will have done here when he made that attempt, the first attempt, there's a spot on the rail that he hit. So you'll see he went to the other side this time. And I would expect that he will hit it this time. And what you do when you're actually lining up, trying to hit out of a snooker like this, is that you find a line on the table and extend it beyond the table to a chair leg, to a mark on a wall or something.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time he went, by our view, to the right of the yellow, he's now gone to the left of the yellow, and he should have that spot on the rail pretty carefully picked.
Correct me if I'm wrong. If he misses this, he can't be put back. Because is that, well,
But he did. And as I thought, he would actually have found the right spot for what he was doing. Now, he lost 8 points there. So 26 points behind. Now 28 points behind, and now he's in need of a snooker. Snooker and foul. So Don's in a tough spot. He'll likely concede the third frame here.
it is looking promising for Floyd to move on to try and become the Canadian Open champion.
And for fun, Floyd will probably try and bank this or run it right up the rail. He tried to run it up the rail. Naughty shot. Not a shot he would have played had he not had sufficient points to claim the frame.
And with that concession, that makes Floyd up 3-0. And now at the 3-frame interval, players are allowed to have a 5-10 minute break. So we'll step aside, stretch our legs. So
We'll be back.
we encourage you to do the same, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel so you'll get that little notification when it comes back on. And we'll see you in a few moments.
Yeah,
Thank you,
please
everybody.
send us any questions or rules or anything that you might have interest in, and we'll do our best to answer it. Talk to you soon. Bye.
The landscape of snooker in Canada is about to shift to a higher level. We have just one question. Are you ready? The Canadian Snooker Tour has seen a lot of changes in the last 7 years. An increase in player participation, tournaments, and yes, more prize money. 3 words, not satisfied yet. Stay tuned for major announcements to come on the Snooker Canada website. Monte Carlo Billiards is the home of Mississauga for the game of snooker. Whether you are a beginner or an advanced player, if you enjoy the game of snooker, there is no place like it. With world-class professional tables, it is always a good time to drop in. We also offer lessons, leagues, and group functions. Great food, great atmosphere. MonteCarloBilliards.com.
Monte Carlo wins. We're the first to admit there's no place like home. So let us welcome you to the next best place, where guests feel like regulars, even on their first day. At Monte Carlo wins, we're the first to admit there's no place like home. So let us welcome you to the next best place, where guests feel like regulars, even on their first day. Monte Carlo wins is your home away from home.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're back live here, frame 4. We're live at Monte Carlo Billiards in Mississauga, Ontario, just on Matawawa Street, just off Dundas. So if you're in the neighborhood, feel free to stop by. Great action here. We're just getting the day started. It's day 2, Super Saturday. Championship Sunday will be tomorrow. And this is now one of those have-to frames for Don. Pretty much she has to win 4 in a row to continue his campaign to try and be the Canadian Open champion. And Floyd Ziegler just needs 1, so Floyd can kind of let the arm out a little bit. And maybe try a few more risky shots than he usually does if it was more of a 2-1, 1-2 kind of match. But being up 3-0, you can chance his luck a little bit more, but not too much, because you don't want the momentum to swing in Don's favor.
Yeah, Don really needs to take control of one of these games to put some pressure on Floyd. Floyd's Q-arm is going to be pretty relaxed now. He's going to feel pretty confident that this match is his, so Don certainly has to put some pressure on him.
Yeah, the next match that we have on the TV table is Médaille Dormie from Quebec, taking it on Dan Bisonnet from Ontario. Do you know Dan?
I know Dan. I've never been on a table with him. We've never had the chance to play each other. That one came in the side door, wiped its feet,
Thought about it?
had a conversation, decided to come in.
He went into the bag. Did he pull out a trick?
That one didn't quite work out the way he had hoped it would. He was hoping that would lead to a good high break opportunity.
But he just confirmed with his opponent Don that it is touching that ball, the red ball. So in those instances, you can always shoot away. And now, Mr. Police Chief.
Yes.
Another ruling, something that comes up sometimes when people are like, well, I hit a red in, and now I'm landed touching a color ball.
Yes.
What are your options?
You can shoot any ball you want, or you can call the color ball the one that you're touching as the ball that you're shooting and shoot away from it. It's deemed to have made contact because at the point of contact it was touching. But if you're, say, frozen to the blue and you choose to shoot the yellow, you can nominate yellow. So you're not forced into the one that you're touching.
Yeah, it goes back to that, don't want to force anything. I feel my father saying that when I was young. Don't force it, David. It will come.
I can hear him saying it now.
Did your father say the same thing? Don't force it, David.
No.
Because we both are Davids, David Putty, and I'm David Burney, but sometimes we go by Daves.
Dave, David, David. Dave squared.
True. D to the power of 2. Is it too cliche of saying our podcast would be getting in the D with David and David?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thought about that for a second.
No worries. See, commentating's like snooker. You don't want to think too much about it.
That's true. Yeah. Could be called in the D.
True.
See? Now someone's going to go out there and grab that domain name and it won't be ours.
Dope. I think that would be a dubious act because
Dubious. Yes. Because
now you're making me think. But we've said it out here. We have recorded evidence of the stream that we came up with it first.
true.
So Dennis Taylor, Ken Daughtry, just move away. We've got the D covered.
Dominic Dale might have some claim to that.
That's right.
Just saying.
The spaceman.
So Floyd's disappointed with the result of that, as he doesn't have an obvious shot. There might be something there, but I don't think there is. So he'll play this one into the green corner. And struck it very nicely.
And do you think being up 3-0,
Gives him
taking it on?
gives him the freedom to take that shot. Yeah.
Sorry, we kind of sometimes get a little distracted. We have the well-dressed and handsome Phil Snake just taking a look at what we're doing over here. Remind me to stand over him when he's taking a shot.
Yeah, because it's the same kind of concentration it takes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When I had the great pleasure of meeting John Virgo when we all went over to London, England this past January. I was like, John, I do a little bit of commentating over in Canada. Any piece of advice? Concentrate. So
So there it is.
Yeah, that was a great trip there. 18 of us in total,
Yes.
all from Canada, went over to London, England, check out the Snooker Masters, and I think everyone had a ball. Just a
It was great
fantastic.
fun. I was over there getting my final certification for my world coaching certificate from the professional body, WPBSA. And there were a large number of other Canadians there at the same time. Had a great time over there. It was one of the bucket list things that I had always wanted to do was get to see a professional tournament. It didn't disappoint. Floyd again has been a little unfortunate there. He made the brown in the yellow corner on the far left side, and as the cue ball was coming up, it just touched the nub of the side pocket and has put him into a spot where he's almost looks like he's playing a combination here, or maybe that top red combination went. Smacking his head there because he didn't give any thought to position.
Oh, got fortunate hitting that jaw there.
That actually makes up for the bad one that he had earlier. I think he has one in the side, or he may play this one in the corner.
So I wonder how you do undo that forehead slap. Also a big fan of the game and a great author. Ryan Lester is tuning into the broadcast. I don't know if you know any of Ryan's work. He wrote a short novella, Dead Clown Blues, and a novel, Die Famous, and they're a fantastic read.
I haven't heard of him before.
Top-notch writing, and we talk a little bit about snooker, and he's always kind of felt that maybe he could bring this game into one of his great novels, so stay tuned.
Would obviously be a great read, because everything about snooker, you know.
Yeah, there's many wonderful people that do love this game from all facets of life. Obviously, our famed Richler Cup is named after Mordecai Richler, the writer. His book on snooker was just a fantastic read.
Floyd is continuing this run. He has been out of position a number of times, but has made great recovery shots. And he seems prepared and ready to continue it here. He's in good position. He actually has two choices here. He's taking the one that's straight forward, straight into the corner with an automatic position on the black.
Yeah, he's definitely taught me something that I'm going to take to the bank. You know, when I miss position on a shot, just hit my forehead,
Yes,
because then the next shot will be fine.
I think as a technique, it's something that could be brought into most people's games. But he has certainly made some great recovery shots here to continue this. And if Dan does get back to the table, it will be in a very tough position to be able to recover.
So you have to make recovery shots. I thought it's just a forehead slap and then everything's okay.
No, I think it's part and parcel of recovery shots.
Oh. Back to the drawing board.
So at this point, there are 75 points left on the table. And after this, assuming Floyd makes this black, he'll have 64 points. So he'll need one red and one color to have Dan in a position where he needs snookers, and that as a red positional shot hasn't worked for Floyd. Doesn't mean he won't try something from here. He has the capability. He might try a combination. He might try a real thin slice in here somewhere. tried the slice and made it.
Brilliant.
So again, another great recovery shot from a positional shot that didn't work for him. Now 67 points on the table. And a 68-point lead. Dan is now in a position where he needs snookers and fouls.
Yeah, and getting with this break at 59 and still going, it's almost getting into time where Don's going to be in that cheerleader phase.
Cheering him on for the 100 run.
Mm-hmm.
And the only tough ball for that to happen is down on the bottom cushion. There's a pink and a red frozen together down there.
But he's got in and out of trouble quite nicely in this frame, so I think anything's possible.
And if you do the math, if he made blacks with all the 3 open reds, he's only at 97 points. Ooh. So he will need that red down on the bottom. Might go for it here off the blue. And he got it. Very nicely done. Be unfortunate if he was snookered by the pink on that red, but I think that's where he's at. It's nice when you're a player and you know that you have enough points. Because now he can do anything he wants on this table, and if he misses, it's still the end of the match.
Oh.
Would have been right? Yes. The century run is still on as a possibility.
Cliff Thorburn knows a few things about that.
Yes, yes. I think it was the first ever televised perfect game at a professional ranking tournament.
In its entirety. Steve Davis had one that was on television, but they had to stop the cameras. As per union protocol, they broke for lunch, so they didn't record the whole break.
There you go. I've learned something today. I can go home now.
Fair enough. Could this be number 2 century that I've commentated on
There we are.
in my short career? Were you there for Ferns, or were you on the table?
No, I was on the table.
So could this be numero uno for you, David?
I'm trying to remember whether Renat had one at the Richler.
No?
Nope. Then yes, this would be it.
I think there was only 2 last year at Richler. It was Fern, who I was commentating on, and John Everekian had one on not the TV table.
So this red and the pink, if he were to play position on it, would give him we refer to it as a century run. It's any run over 100 points. But if he gets position on any color here, he'll be in good position for it. Not what he was planning.
Look to the forehead, Floyd. There might be something there.
He might have a pink or a brown in the side here would be his best shot for continuation.
Ooh.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Nope.
Oh, so it's solid break of 86 to take the white rush over Don. Good round of applause from that crowd. Thoughts, David? That was
That was a very nice run by Floyd there. That was. Actually, I was watching the total score. He was still a ways away from the century run, but it's nice to see someone stepping up and making balls like that. Gives you an idea of where Floyd's game is at.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. I was following the total score too. I was seeing that we were getting close, but forgot that he had some points earlier on,
Yeah.
and there's still a break. So we're still live here at Monte Carlo Billiards, but we're going to step aside. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel on Snooker Canada, because then you'll get notifications of when we come back on the air, and that should be shortly because our next match is scheduled to start at 12 o'clock, so that's 12 minutes away. So if you're in these, feel free to make maybe a sandwich for lunch, and we'll see you back here on the bay shortly.
Talk to you soon. Bye now.
Bye-bye.